What's your story?
Heads up, eyes open, and fist clenching. Chairman Fred Hampton Jr., the Black Panther Party Cubs, international chairman of the Black Panther Party Cubs, the son of Chairman Fred Hampton, and also for Cool and Jerry, for knows Deborah Johnson. This is my story.
Okay, so I'm like, for the people, I'm like, actually, I'm like, don't know. I'm like, tell them, actually, I'm like, where you from?
I'm born and raised in Chicago. I always make it a point to say, I'm from Africa, you know what I'm saying? But however, biologically speaking, born and raised in Chicago.
Okay, so growing up, I'm like, for yourself, tell the world, I'm like, how it was, I'm like, for you.
I think I even go back before my actual birth. Put in context, so from where I come from. I mentioned I'm the son of Chairman Fred Hampton and also of Cool and Jerry. My first contact with the American judicial system was actually before I got here. Being I was born December the 29th, 1969, I was there. I was in a sense I was there. I was there December the 4th, 1969, with my mother to be, who was 8.5 months pregnant. And she, at the time she's the wife, but now she's the widow of Chairman Fred Hampton. One of the acts of the infamous COINTELPRO, the Counterintelligence Program implemented by the U.S. government, in their own words, was created to discredit, demise, disrupt, and destroy any black nationalist movement, especially amongst the youth. Over 90% of it directed to the Black Panther Party, and a major blow with that, a major hit with that was December 4th, 1969, in which I was there. My father was 21 years old, Chairman Fred Hampton. My mother to be just turned 19 years old, days prior. She was 8.5 months pregnant with me. She felt the shells come through the mattress. She covered down over her comrade, her husband. And then when they pulled out the room, the police pulled out the room, the police had put a revolver to her stomach. And when I speak about it, I say that was my first prenatal care. That the first piece of steel I ever came into contact with, as opposed to a doctor's stethoscope, Chicago Police Department's revolver. And again, I was subsequently born about 2.5 weeks later, into a climate that was closely coming up on the heels of the military defeat of the Black Power movement. I said military defeat because it's acknowledged that ideologically the Black Power movement had won the hearts and minds of the people. But however, I grew up in a climate where it was not a common conversation about the Black Panther Party. It wasn't a common conversation, about the struggle. In fact, I spoke at a repast in Stanley Tookie Williams, co-founder of the Crips. I spoke at a repast in California. I said, Tookie Williams grew up in a climate like I grew up in, deprived of such an organization as the Black Panther Party. So, again, I was subjected to that too, where you seen with the government that came in with the various forms of propaganda, movies, and school systems said, really pressing, don't talk about the Black Panther Party. And so I grew up in that climate. But however, I was fortunate, my mother comrade, members of the Black Panther Party, to give me, insight of what the Black Panther Party was about.
Gotcha. So I'm like the son of Fred Hampton, and they just had a movie just came out like a few years ago. And so, I want to know, how did you feel about that movie?
Well, let me give you a background. Again, I know some of the questions you might be like, well, just give me a yes or no, go straight to it. But the deal is I want to put it in context.
Oh, I see.
You
speak how you want to speak it.
Yeah, and it's important.
It's your story.
Yeah, well, I have issue with the title because reality is, it's not just my story. You know what I'm saying? It's our story.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I struggle against subjectivity, and because I can't. I'm not detached. None of us are detached from the outside community. We impacted by other people in particular, and I say this in all humbleness. Who I am and where I come from, it's a microcosm of what happens to our people in general. Whether we're talking about the movie industry, what have you. Like, for example, with the movie Judas and Black Messiah, initially there was no contact with the family. And this is typically how not only Hollywood, but any ruling class entities how they operate. Come from a different cloth. I'm coming from a cloth. I recall back when I was about 12 years old, there was an attempt to do a book on Chairman Fred, and I recall this was one of the Chicago winters in which we had no heat in our home, and my mother took the principal position. Like, hold on, and the book was really building one of the police up as a character to be looked up to, and the principal position that she took, I recall that, and I was like, man, so if we do this, go along with this book, does that mean that we get our heat turned back on? She remained principal, even in the face of people that may have been in the Black Panther Party and family members saying, look, just go along with it. She held the line. And, and we paid the price for that, for, holding the political line, remaining the principle. So that was one of the attempts, to give an incorrect narrative on legacy of Chairman Fred was. And there's been different discussion about movie deals and unauthorized books have been pushing. But and this was, so we first heard about this. We was dismissive about it, In fact, I didn't make sure I didn't bring it to my mother comrade's attention, because in so many cases, I tell people you're gonna be the subject of the history of the story, but you won't have no input in it. So we heard about this, so we reached out and said, hold on, there's character even in character. In other words, who's gonna play which particular role, the lines. We had struggles with some of the initial titles they had proposed. Our people, one of the initial titles that was proposed was Jesus Was My Homeboy. We had, that was a no-go with us. So there was a lot of struggles that were engaged in that before we got to the point of myself and my mother comrade, being the cultural experts on the set and struggling, and sometimes clashing was politically correct to be reflected by the Black Panther Party, as opposed to, creatively speaking, was advantageous. So, but that's the question. One, we said revolutionary is never satisfied. However, we ate a place what we call the Black Panther Party Club pills and the applesauce. And everything down from the reference to this title is important. It's political. It's not ego tripping. We say Chairman Fred. It's imperative people be recognized that we had a organization instead of a self-determination on our own terms. I said I learned lessons from his legend on what a man was supposed to be. And we also say that a legacy is more important than your life. The example that Chairman Fred and many others, that prototype of that organization, the Black Panther Party, it left not footsteps but Panther paw steps for manhood, womanhood, childhood, humanity. And also I was able to, pick and pull different, dynamics from our community, examples of how we deal with life situations. In other words, I recall, when I was held captive, for the record, I'm a former political prisoner. And there were situations that, the writings of such forces, the late Field Marshal George Jackson, who authored Soledad Brother, Blood in My Eye, how, just some of the contradictions, how he dealt with, inside the camps, inside the prisons. So, we're able to relate to that. So these are different dynamics that, that impacted, impacted my life and others. And also, just brothers and sisters in general in our community, Because one thing the Black Panther Party said, and the Black Panther Party did, and the Black Panther Party Cubs say and do, is that we attempt to turn the communities into classrooms. And, we did the fact that a lot of these cats are real models as opposed to role models. Because a lot of individuals who are given to us are detached, and it's sort of abstract way we really can't relate to. So, it wasn't gift wrapped for me. Later, these were conversations that sometimes had to be coded. That, these are lessons that, the conditions had to be ripe to be able to grasp it. You just can't, unlike a lot of schools of thought, you can go through and just say, okay, here's the curriculum, this is how you move. But like Malcolm X, Elijah Malik Shabazz says, he learned America's history through his ghettos and prisons.
Right. So, you growing up as well, if for a person who probably not familiar with the with the Black Panthers at all, I want you to explain what the Black Panthers are in the organization as well.
Yeah. First, I want to premise with this. this is humbling, because, like, you know, when you talk about education, something necessary ingredient to, to grasp certain things is a certain amount of humility. And, you know, I think it comes, like we talk about the Black Panther Party, that a lot of times people don't know certain things. It's an arrogance. It's a race or a class arrogance. It may be for a defense mechanism also, because that's humbling and embarrassing that you have to acknowledge why you don't know what the Black Panther Party is. You have to ask some questions, you have to do some hard questions, like, you know, why your parents didn't tell you. You know what I'm saying? Why the schools, how are you able to navigate in a society without knowing this? And it's easier to, blame the vanguard, to say, well, nobody never told me, so on and so forth. But you able to learn football stats and facts, and learn music, and, you know what I'm saying, you pick up on that, you learn that. And the reality, we have to acknowledge this is it's like Tupac. Pac has said, we know to talk about Dr. King as opposed to Malcolm X in school. And that, so on the premise with that, you know what I'm saying, let's be clear why we don't know. And it's not about happenstance. It's intentional. It's not a safe subject. In fact, I talk about this brother who is in his early 50s. When he his early 50s, he went to go see the movie Judas and Black Messiah, and his parents, you know what I'm saying, he told his parents, and his wife and his children, and his father asked him, he said, how do you know what's about to happen, son? He said, well, I talked to his son, the chairman, and he asked his father, why didn't I know? And his father replied, son, we just wanted peace, you know what I'm saying, because there are repercussions for having this discussion. But again, well, just to go to the heart of the question now, the Black Panther Party was a revolutionary organization. And, and a revolution basically means a fight for complete change. And it was, it came an organization that, though it had class contradictions like every other entity, it had a mass line. In other words, from the people, from the valley. And, it wasn't, it wedded theory and practice. It just didn't talk about children need to be fed. The Black Panther Party implemented the first free breakfast program, free busing programs of prisoners, and many survival programs, but it was not programs for charity. These are programs implemented to get the people involved in the fight for their own present entity of self-determination.
Right. So, being a chairman of the Black Panthers Party, right? I don't say it wrong.
Black Panther Party Cubs.
Cubs, okay.
Cubs. So
tell the world, actually, what is one on the average day like for you?
I'm starting to get to the stage, like a reality show, like a 24, a camera, the day to day, because I tell you, I'm moving on a political pivot, especially in this stage of the game. A reporter asked me one time, how many members do you have? I said, well, I tell you, it depends on how many people the police have murdered. I'm not in New Orleans, and I strategically take people with me on certain moves, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times people, subjective, like even my comrades, and like different branches and chapters, so they can see the inner workings, the different personalities, the different dynamics that we have to deal with. And not just deal with, you know what I'm saying? It's one thing, like people say, well, you might just say during the era of chattel slavery. I know my grandmother escaped slavery, but the recognize the Harriet Tubman dynamic, you know what I'm saying, of going back for others, you know what I'm saying, and to help liberate others. That sacrifice, you know what I'm saying, that dynamic, you know what I'm saying, just being able to 24/7 be on, you know what I'm saying, to be on a call and being consistent, you know what I'm saying, of be armed with the politics under attack. Under attack, the county. It's just one thing to say that, a certain community engaged in certain, had businesses, so on and so forth, if they unmolested, unattacked. When you talk about the Black Panther Party Cubs, it's important to also acknowledge the COINTELPRO, the continuous, counterinsurgency, the war that's waged on every dynamic of our work. You know what I'm saying? And it's not some sort of abstract paranoia, the government. So even when I say the Black Panther Party, fight, ideologically they won, fight for the mass and the hearts of the people. And that's a difficult task, you know what I'm saying? Because you dealing with generational damage. You know what I'm saying? You dealing with different damage. You dealing with, as opposed to like the U.S. Army, you may have a person that you put a family like on a base, and they can be secluded. You know what I'm saying? But we're not the black. We on foreign terrain, opposition. This is native people's land, indigenous people's land, and conquered, colonized. by Europeans. You know what I'm saying? So when I say colonized, how intrinsic imperialism gets in the arteries of, you know what I'm saying, people like you. We come in with a scalpel, a political scalpel, and you trying to cut the cancer of capitalism, and people are defensive. They hold, you know what I'm saying, even the colonizers themselves, the colonized, the victims, hold on in defense of that system. And this impacts every aspect, relationships, how you view food. You know what I'm saying? There's no, well, that's just food. Everything's political. Words, terms, fashion, everything. How you relate. What do you respect? Like, you know, subconsciously, you can say, this is Professor Bozo from such and such university, Reverend such and such, and Minister Huey P. Newton. Automatically, most people just say, let's just say Huey. Because they have no frame of reference of an institution that stood up on its own terms, challenging the system. You feel what I'm saying? And that's a difficult task that you're fighting for. And also, to fight that system, struggling not to become compromised by it. It's like the movie Walking Dead. You might say, oh, you killed somebody, but did you get bit? Did you become impacted? Have they won you one way or another? So the struggle against this system, and also not to become conquered by itself. You say how you fight, how you move. So again, back to the heart of the question. You know, every 100 calls a morning. You know, cats. You know, and man, let's do this and see people get involved in struggle, become conscious one of three ways: inspiration, aspiration, and desperation. One of the pros and cons with novice forces or new forces, they think this is something that just happened. You know, police just killed my son. This is the first time this ever happened. So there's an energy that comes with it that can be utilized. However, sometimes it comes with an arrogance because you have no previous history. This is the modus operandi, how the system operates. And the vanguard has to be consistent. You know what I'm saying? It's like a 57 Chevy. That body, that engine has to be remain consistent, but still alternate spark plugs, different intricate parts that may come in different times in their life and say, okay, they can go here, but they go back to their normal AutoZone way of life. The vanguard got to be consistent, even when it's not fashionable. So to have the morale, and you know what I'm saying, and Minister Huey P. Newton said one of the most difficult jobs of being a revolutionary is fighting in the interests of people who at many times don't know their own interests. You know what I'm saying? And I see the political, we hear today. Acknowledge the birthday of one of our comrades. You know, it's our coordinator for the 2 o'clock. You know, so the 18 years in Angola, and it's not just a birthday party. You know, so most people say, okay, this birthday party, cake. So we have to come and struggle to put the political line, the political significance of that, and not only for New Orleans, but on an international level. You know what I'm saying? To put these different dynamics in place, the political significance, and so for generations to come can recognize, oh, you mean this guy did 18 years in Angola? Still standing and still serving the people. A lot of times people can receive it, but they don't. See, we have to be on with a politics that transcends generational, geographical, and gender lines. Sometimes people have a line that can suffice for just, okay, this is the women, or this is just for down south, or this is for the young people, or pulpit politics, or prison politics. The Black Panther Party political line transcends all that. You have to be consistent. So, man, it's difficult to tell you day-to-day life, man, you know what I'm saying? But we're going to get like a reality show so people can see, you know what I'm saying? But the deal is, even if they see that they can't relate to it, though, because, again, outside looking in, to see that, okay, and also to be a visionary, to see the significance, okay? For example, Minister Huey P. Newton, that breakfast program, the time of day he done it, what age range he hit it, that impacts people for lives, you know, for generations to come, you know? And to be able to do that and to go against the grain, because most people can't see the significance of that. They say, okay, just a trip. You feel what I'm saying? But you never know. Get people involved in work, the different dynamics. I get constant reports continuously how the Black Panther Party work, you know what I'm saying? Even in quote-unquote defeat, how this impacted their lives.
Right. So, you know, people like in my generation and probably younger aren't, too familiar with the Black Panthers, but you saw it on the movies and different things like that. Like, most people in my generation probably go to jail and like learn about, if they might become one like Muslim as well or something like that. So like, and so what's the difference from like being a Black Panther and like on like the nation of like Islam? I'm like, actually, I want you to explain to the people, if like probably like my age or like a little younger.
Yeah. I know some places, some locales, their distinction has to be more clarified. Cause I'm in Chicago, Chicago is, noted for not only the top, one of the, if not the top segregated city. Talking about the race question. Also, the class contradiction. You know what I'm saying? So it's able to distinguish. Okay, like it's a structure. You know what I'm saying? Like I say structure. Like Chicago, like it's certain places. Like okay, that's that organization or that's that race. That's the like it's certain areas that that people know. It's like a acknowledgement. You know what I'm saying? I grew up. If I would be on a bus on public transportation. I look up and see white people on the bus. Like, oh, I must have missed my stop. You know what I'm saying? That's how the dynamics was. And this is like even with the street organizations, or we call it the unpoliticized street tribes. Even if cats don't have no colors at a certain period of time, you can talk to the cat. Oh, you such and such. Not only you can pick up what particular street organization they were affiliated with, you can also what period they were. They were engaged in it. You know what I'm saying? And that's the structure dynamic. And like the Black Panther Party, Black Panther Party Cubs, Nation of Islam, not necessarily become antagonistic, but you was able to distinguish. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
With these contradictions, like one of the war stories, what have you. How Chairman Fred, when he met with Chief Malik, Jeff Ward, the Blackstone Rangers, you know what I'm saying, the Arukans, how they were able to distinguish the different dynamics without necessarily becoming antagonistic. You know what I'm saying? And something our people like to we are fed this abstract idealism that we all same, we all want the same thing, and that's not no community has that. No community has it. You can't find that. You can't find that in dog breeds. You know what I'm saying? But we're told that it's a bad thing. You can acknowledge it in astrology. You can acknowledge it in sports. You say, no, this person's a point guard. That's a forward. Doesn't mean this person's a better player, so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? This person wants to be the MVP. This person wants the team to win. You feel what I'm saying? So on the preface of coming in through the door with that. I see myself spiritual people, but the Black Panther Party is a revolutionary political organ. You know what I'm saying? And I want to distinguish also politics from electoral politics. You know what I'm saying? The words, terms, fashion, everything. In fact, Minister Upinu has stressed, amongst other things, that we must even politicize the gun. What made a lot of people have a reactionary assessment of the Black Panther Party? Uniforms, guns. You know what I'm saying? And negating. In certain places, certain locales, you able to suffice just saying throw some black suits on and say, okay, it's the Black Panther Party. But a politic, to be saying, hold on, no, that's not the Panther Party. You know what I'm saying? It gives you the ability to say, hold on, that's the Nation of Islam. The way you do security, the way you talk, the way you deal with contradictions, the way you deal with relationships. It's like in Islam. It's a certain, you can pick and say, hold on, that person just not eating. No, that person's Ramadan. You follow what I'm saying? It's a significance of this. In certain places it may suffice that you may not catch it, but in certain you say, no, that's the Shiite Muslim, Sunni Muslim. And one of America's policies is to create chaos, then restore order. Create, come through and destroy all, create chaos. And then that's attractive. Like we say, oh yeah, we don't need no more structure. We all the same. You don't cook food that way. You know what I'm saying? You don't come, you say, hold on, man, no. This is the base, we're searing the fish, it's a different dynamic on cooking food to acknowledge that. So to go to the heart of the question again, I guess, like a better term, like this, a revolutionary organization that's taking account on again terms, how we deal with struggle. You know what I'm saying? Again, Black Panther Party is a political organization. A revolutionary organization also. That's what the Black Panther Party Cubs.
Gotcha. So tell us actually, what's next for you?
I'm a servant of the people. I tell people, I live out of a suitcase. Duty calls, I'm rolling. You know what I'm saying? And we struggle not to become ambulance chasers. You know what I'm saying? We have to have our ear to the ground. You know what I'm saying? How we can win. With certain points, but we have the end goal is definitely self-determination. That's what we're fighting for. And one of our major campaigns we had the Hampton House, the childhood home of Chairman Fred. My schedule was, I was designated literally go to speak different places. That campaign superseded a whole bunch of stuff. You know what I'm saying? We had to say, hold on. We had the childhood home with Chairman Fred Hampton. You know what I'm saying? We still got to walk and chew gum at the same time. We still got to fight for the cases of Mumia Abu Jamal. You know what I'm saying? Recently released held political prisoner Sundiata Kohli. You know what I'm saying? So we still got to do some different campaigns, but have our ear to the ground and not come in with a curriculum and be to a 9 to 5. Say, okay, we're gonna be going to get a degree this next year. We're gonna be talking about this in our next course. You know what I'm saying? Things are one of the philosophical tools that we relate to is dialectical materialism, recognizing that things are constantly being born and dying and they're growing. You know what I'm saying? So it's ever developing. You know what I'm saying? Okay, where people at now? We're taking into account technology, where people at, certain, you know what I'm saying, certain discussions that might be outdated. You know what I'm saying? But again, hold the line, fight for self-determination.
Gotcha. And also, but last but not least, tell everyone actually, where can they find you at on social media and just everywhere?
Well, first and foremost, they can find me in my office, the streets. You know, and I know we utilize social media, but you know, we out there, you know what I'm saying, consistent, you know what I'm saying, on the international level, would it be Transcending in France, the leadership of our local chairman, Franco, Sao Paulo, Brazil, deputy chairwoman, Sujeti, you know, Chicago, Oakland, we work with CRC and other forces there. We out here, you know what I'm saying, or even behind the walls. And I just said yesterday, even if I'm not there physically, we be represented, you know what I'm saying? But I know social media is definitely a phenomenal tool that we got to utilize. So they can find us on Instagram at official Chairman Fred Hampton Jr. Official Chairman Fred Hampton Jr. Hit us on Facebook at Fred Hampton, SatanHamptonHouse.org. Send letters. Come see the Hampton House, 804 South 17th Avenue, Maywood, Illinois. August 30th. Put this man, replay this again. Need y'all for the Chairman Fred Street Party. August 30th, coming up. It's gonna be Chairman Fred will be 75 years old this year, had it not been assassinated by the U.S. government. Then December 4th, International Revolutionary Day. We need y'all out. Put the word out. Remember, start hashtagging that now. You know what I'm saying? Chairman Fred Street Party, August 30th. You know what I'm saying? You know, also. Bianca Taylor, look for her on Facebook, look for Cortez Rice, Jacob Blake, on Shout Them Out, you know what I'm saying, Ollie Gordon, these are families of Emmett Till, Breonna Taylor, Jacob Blake. They came through, we had a phenomenal event in Maywood, Illinois. You know what I'm saying, it was a stage full of pain and power. You know, talking about, you know, what happened, they respect the family members, you know, they want the different campaigns they have and foundation they have. People support that though. But yeah, man, get us in the streets and also social media. That's what it is. Oh, tune in every Wednesday to Freedom All Radio. Every Wednesday, Freedom All Radio. You know what I'm saying? They go to Blog Talk Freedom All Radio. They can go to subscribe to my YouTube page, Chairman Fred Jr. Chairman Fred Jr., Chairman Fred Jr. It's every Wednesday, 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. You know what I'm saying? It's going down. Freedom All Radio. Say, make history, take history, take history. StreamYard. Chairman Fred Jr. also. StreamYard, yeah.
But all right, we done.
Man, that's my story, man. Love, respect. It's our story. It's our story.
And I appreciate you for coming.
Right on, brother. Appreciate you for having me, brother.
What's your story?
Nolazine, make them scream. Nolazine. Make them SCREAM. Scream. Nolazine, make them scream. You heard me.